For some time now, I've been developing a program called Sustainable Agriculture. This is a system that I have derived from various sources on how we can improve farming in Zimbabwe. Not only for the white man, but for the black man as well. And this is a program that is based in 5 parts. The first part is how to make compost. In Zimbabwe, we are very short of fertilizer. Many of the people out in the communal areas have no access to fertilizer, and so we are going to make our own fertilizer. How are we going to do that? The first thing we're going to do is to make compost. The compost is made basically from biodegradable products as well as manure. It is made in basically a format such as that, and it can be made very quickly. It'll take approximately 3 weeks to complete a batch of compost. We then take that compost and we start feeding it to worms. Now, before we do that, we've got to teach many people how to make compost, and we even start teaching the schools. Here we have a school, a high-density school. There's 2,000 students at that school, and I'm busy teaching them twice a week on how to make compost. From there, we now go to a subject called vermiculture, and it is all about worm farming. Now, what you may ask, what do you want to farm worms for? Well, the reason you want to farm worms is to make an even more potent compost, which you can feed your crops. There we are. We're starting with a very simple method, and that is designed that the average farmer out in the bush can put a system together where he will make organic fertilizer. We then go, that is the first, that's the first of 2 of the 5 programs, or the 5-part program. The 3rd part program is called Compost Tea. Before I go to the compost tea system, there is an up-to-date VC digester. That is a worm compost digester. It's very upmarket, and it is something that will be introduced later on into bigger organizations. We then have the 3rd part of the program is something called compost tea. Now, compost tea is a liquid form of soil conditioner, and that what it does, it places millions of microorganisms into the soil. And the way we do that is we actually make it in batches using a tank. We put compost into that tank, and we put additives with it, molasses, kelp, fish oil, soya powder, and a few other magic ingredients, which go towards multiplying microorganisms in their trillions. These oxygen is now pumped into this mixture, and from there it is put onto the soil or sprayed onto the plants, but put in such a way that it's taken up by the soil. You can get smaller kits such as there. I've got a very small homemaker kit. As you can see, there's a little compressor. We've got these air bricks, or these air bricks, yeah, and from there oxygen is pushed into this tea that we make. Then once we have a bank of microorganisms going into the soil, done very cheaply, And this eventually takes place of the fertilizer, chemical fertilizer that one would have to buy, and you can no longer get. Imagine if you're walking through a forest in the middle of Sweden and you feel underneath how hard or how soft the soil is. You'll see it's very soft because the compost over the time, all the leaves have fallen down and they formed a compost. It's called God's blanket, and it's nature's way of providing fertilizer to those trees. And that's exactly what we are trying to do now.